Thanks for coming. My name is Dale Butland, and I'm the Communications Director for Innovation Ohio. Since Governor Kasich unveiled his proposed two-year budget a couple of weeks ago, there's been a lot of speculation and guesswork about how many jobs would be put at risk by the massive cuts proposed in that budget. Well, this morning the guesswork stops. If Governor Kasich's budget is passed by the legislature, this organization calculates that over 51,000 existing Ohio jobs could be lost directly. That number does not include the thousands of jobs that could be lost indirectly as the wages and purchases of laid-off workers are withdrawn from the economy. We hope other organizations may be calculating the number of indirect jobs that will be lost and will soon make them public. But whatever they are, the direct job losses that could be brought on by the Kasich budget cuts are potentially catastrophic by themselves. Since Mr. Kasich came into office, just 22,000 new jobs have been created in the state of Ohio. Unfortunately, the draconian budget cuts that he has proposed would not only wipe out those gains, but wipe them out more than 2 times over. Like the nation as a whole, Ohio has finally begun to see the first tentative signs of an economic recovery. But that recovery remains extremely fragile, and throwing an additional 51,000 Ohioans out of work could easily derail it. Now, the school districts and the local governments that will absorb most of these cuts don't want to lay off workers and will do all they can to avoid it. But they already have made the easy cuts in the early years of this recession. So when the governor proposes to cut school funding by $3 billion and local government funding by 50%, the only realistic options left are firing workers or raising local taxes or some combination of the two. So let us be absolutely clear. By refusing to increase revenue and stubbornly insisting that an $8 billion budget deficit must be closed only through cuts and the one-time money that comes from selling off state assets, Governor Kasich is willfully and intentionally pursuing a policy that will cost tens of thousands of Ohioans their jobs. Governor Kasich says that his budget is a jobs budget. But if words have any meaning, a jobs budget would create new jobs, not destroy existing ones. So let me say this to the governor, and let me say it as clearly as I can. You can't fix Ohio by attacking workers, either through a jobs-killing budget or through unfair, extremist legislation like Senate Bill 5 that poll after poll after poll has shown Ohioans don't like, don't want, and don't support. Governor Kasich, your war on workers will only end up destroying the middle class. And destroying the middle class is not what you were elected to do. Now with that, I want to introduce the President of Innovation Ohio, Janetta King. Janetta will tell you how we arrived at the job loss numbers that were released in today and describe the methodology that we used in our calculations. Following that, we'll be happy to answer whatever questions you may have. Janetta?
Thank you, Dale. I do want to spend a little bit of time going over the methodology so you all know how we arrived at these numbers, but just to reiterate some of the points that Dale made, Ohio is heading in the right direction right now in terms of jobs. Slowly but surely, we are taking advantage of the economic recovery, and therefore the decisions that we make during this very important time as we are entering recovery could have very positive effects, or it could have detrimental effects that will stunt or even reverse the progress that we are seeing. And our concern here is with the analysis showing that this budget could destroy over 51,000 direct jobs. Our concern is that this will in fact be detrimental to Ohio's economy. What you have in front of you is the report that includes a chart that spells out our methodology, again, for direct job loss. We looked at several of the major line items in the budget that pay for personnel. You'll see those in the chart on the left-hand side, K through 12 education, higher education, of course, state government and local government. We then assumed while each of the entities, of course, will deal with these cuts differently. There are lots of different governing bodies that will be absorbing the cuts in different ways. We know they won't take all 100% of the cuts in personnel, but we do know because personnel make up a significant part of their budgets, and as Dale said, they have squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and are to the bone, that a significant number of these cuts will be put in personnel. So therefore, you'll see in the chart that we assumed 75% of the cut number for our calculations. We also factored in then the salaries for professions that are represented in each line item. We also worked to, and you'll see the assumptions at the bottom of the chart, worked to ensure that the different professions reflect in the number the proportional amount that they represent in that profession. So for example, if you look at K through 12, as you probably know, primarily those are teachers. There is support staff that is represented in that number as well, and you'll see we attributed 30% of the cut to the support staff. The only exception is the state personnel lines. We did not do that in the state personnel because we do know in fact that all of those cuts, because they are personnel lines, will in fact be taken in personnel. So we didn't need to do that there. We did adjust the salary for benefits, so it is total compensation. And then you'll see down the right-hand column, when you add all of those jobs together, they total the over 51,000 that we are talking about. I do just want to say a word real quick before we answer questions to say what this number is and is not. It is a conservative number because this is only direct jobs. It does not include the indirect jobs, as Dale said. It also does not include some of the other cuts in the budget that I think you'll be hearing other organizations talk about that result, for example, from Medicaid reimbursement cuts. I believe that the nursing homes are going to be putting out or have put out a number. Maybe cuts to other providers would result in other job loss. This does not include those